Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to share our experience of kiting in the British Virgin Islands, as well as the different kite spots we stopped along the way on our week-long catamaran cruise. To be completely honest, the BVIs were not on our radar as a kite destination until our friend Jeff invited us aboard a catamaran for a week-long cruise in the beginning of January. Given that the BVIs are a collection of islands, the best way to hit all the kite spots is to get around by boat. This also makes each trip to the BVIs unique as you sail to different kite spots depending on the wind strength and the wind direction. We'll cover the kite spots that we experienced on our trip, however please note this is not a complete guide to all the kite spots in the BVIs. Our first spot was upwind of Mosquito Island and downwind of Colquhoun Reef. You know you're in Richard Branson's backyard when the wind drops below 15 knots and kiters switch to electric foil boards. Or maybe you do go foil boarding, with your support boat following just behind you. We kited from the back of the catamaran, as that's the only option. We quickly learned how to launch our fly surfer foil kites, as well as switch off riders. If you're curious how we did it, make sure to check out our video here. As you can see, the water was pretty deep with only small chop thanks to the reef upwind of us. The wind direction here was east-northeast. Northeast or north will work as well. Because you don't have any land directly downwind of you, this spot requires boat support. Our second kite spot was close to Pear Island. This was similar to the first spot as we kited off the catamaran and enjoyed relatively flat water thanks to the reef upwind of us. The nice part about this spot was the sandy beach on Pear that was downwind of us. We made use of this beach for untangling lines. Wind direction needs to be northeast. If there's too much east, it will be shadowed by Eustatia Island. In this clip, you'll see what happens when the wind switches too much east. The wind is blowing over Eustatia Island and it became very turbulent, which resulted in us almost wrapping the kite around the mast of the boat. The most economical way to get to the British Virgin Islands is to actually fly to neighboring US Virgin Islands first, and then take a ferry to Tortola. If you decide to fly to BVI direct, the airfare can be substantially more depending on where you're coming from. If you do end up going to Tortola through USVI, we do recommend that you have a day or two layover in USVI and explore the island. Next up is the island of Anegada. Anegada, which means drowned island due to it being remarkably flat, is the second largest island in the BVIs, yet one of the most scarcely populated as less than 300 people live here. A few years ago, Hurricane Irma was forecasted to make a direct hit on the island, but at the last moment the hurricane switched track and it was spared the worst, unlike neighboring islands. The evening we arrived, we had a light wind session with an 18-meter speed 5 at Cow Wreck Beach. While the kiting wasn't great due to the low wind, the beach itself was gorgeous. It very much reminded us of Little Exuma. Soft sand, wide open bay, and very quiet. This spot works on anything east with a north component in it. We were back to Anegada the next day for an all-day session at Anegada Beach Club. This spot exceeded our expectations. It offers a nice wide beach, fairly shallow, flat water, plus the comforts of a resort. There's a beach bar and restaurant, as well as bathrooms, beach chairs, and shelters. There's also the Tommy Gaunt Kite School here with some very talented instructors and gear rental. If you're not one for staying on a boat, then you'll definitely want to check out Anegada Beach Club. There's a free shuttle to the beach from the Lobster Trap restaurant. Also, if you want a lobster dinner, this is the restaurant to go to. We felt that Anegada is a true hidden gem and we couldn't believe we had never heard of it before. The only con of the kite beaches on Anegada that we could think of are the sand fleas. So if you do travel to this spot, we recommend that you bring bug spray with you. Currently, we are at Sandy Spit, waiting for the wind to pick up. We've been here all morning. It's supposed to be blowing around 20 knots, and it's maybe half of that. Our kiter friends to the side of us are leaving, so hopefully the wind will pick up, as that usually tends to happen when someone leaves. If we do manage to kite, the music will kick in now. Before we arrived to the BVIs, Yuri was the most excited about kiting at Sandy Spit. It looked like it would be hands down the best spot from our research, but in reality, it turned out to be our least favorite spot. First of all, the wind direction must be northeast or east-northeast. If it's anything else, the wind is going to be too up and down due to the mountainous islands upwind. Secondly, to get to the actual Sandy Spit with gear on a dinghy can be a daunting task because the island gets crashed by waves from all directions. Lastly, usually there's a fair amount of boats parked downwind, which makes it hard for kiting. Luckily, it wasn't too busy while we were there. As for no-wind activities, well, there are plenty. The number one attraction is probably the baths on Virgin Gorda, but we didn't make it there as it was windy that day. You know, priorities. Also make sure to check out the Bubbles pool on Joost van Dyke, as well as have a couple drinks at Foxy's after the sun sets. Also be sure to play the rigged ring game at Cowrack Beach. If you like to snorkel, check out the caves at Norman Island. It was such an awesome experience with so much sea life. Did we mention it rained a lot, but never for very long, and the payoff was countless beautiful rainbows. We asked everyone on our boat what their favorite kite spot was and why. Here's what they had to say.
My favorite kite spot in a BVI has so far been Anegada. Anegada was great because you had a lot of beachy, kind of really beautiful sandy beach that you can land your kite on, you can launch from. Also, you can bail into the sandy spots. The downside of that spot is probably the amount of coral that you don't necessarily see or expect. And it's fairly shallow where that coral is, so you don't want to bail on it.
Probably my favorite spot for learning new tricks is Colquhoun Reef. It's a beautiful flat water location, and in northeast winds, it's just ideal for kiting.
One of the spots that we checked out was Eustasia Island. It was a pretty cool spot. It's right across Mosquito Island and Nectar Island. We had a great time. The wind was blowing steadily, and there was a beach downwind of us, so in case of any issues, we wouldn't end up in the middle of the ocean.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more videos like this coming soon. Bye.